Hi everyone, this video is going to be about how to develop a positive frame of mind. I used to be very negative, still am quite negative with some things. I used to hate myself and had no confidence, and I was getting nowhere because I did not believe in myself. Learning to change my outlook on life to be more positive was difficult, but has helped so greatly. How many people would want to hear me always be negative, complaining about how difficult my life is, perhaps making people feel worse about their current situation instead of better? Because I used to be that kind of person, but since I have developed a much more positive outlook on life, I can give my opinions and views on things to help others who were in the situation I used to be in. Helping those individuals develop positive thinking so they can change their life around. Changing your outlook will completely change your life. It takes time, effort, and determination, but it will be worth it in the end. The payoff is worthwhile. I think the number one thing is to learn to believe in yourself. The potential someone has when they believe in themselves is astronomical. Do not give up. Keep trying until you succeed. It takes a lot of time for this to begin to take effect, kind of like breaking a habit. It's easy to be negative, but being positive takes effort and time. But keep in mind that you should also be realistic. When you think all the way up here, you might be setting yourself up for disappointment when things do not turn out the way you envisioned, because it won't always work out. This is something I struggle with greatly since I am quite delusional about what I am capable of, but I end up making do with what I have accomplished so far and end up seeing that what I have managed to do is superior than what I envisioned. I believe in myself, and that drives my ability to be able to succeed. Of course, not always 100%, but I consider minor success an achievement. This is where positive affirmations can really come into play. Along with meditation and self-hypnosis, one can reprogram their brain to accomplish anything. I do have a video dedicated to meditation, self-hypnosis, and positive affirmations for anyone who is interested. Those are all things that have been the core at helping me retrain my thoughts to be more positive. That is what has allowed me to believe in myself and see the positive of even the most negative situations. When you think negatively, bad things come into your life. When you think positively, good things come into your life. I used to be very negative, and bad things would always happen to me. They would begin to stack and make my life worse. When I started to see the positive of a negative situation and allow positive things to enter my life, good things started manifesting. Of course, no one's life is all good. There are plenty of downtimes, but learning to understand the reason why those bad things happen is a positive thing. For example, let's say you are in love with someone that you feel you will be with for forever. But all of a sudden, they die. Of course, you would be in a very bad and negative place after that, but then you realize that the person you were with has taught you so much about relationships, making you realize it is possible to meet someone that you would spend your life with. When prior to meeting them, you never thought you could meet someone. You realize what this person has taught you and are able to move on and even find someone that is even more of a match. Instead of focusing on the negative of the death of the loved one and saying that you will never meet anyone ever again, you were able to see the positive, what you were able to learn from the relationship and become a stronger person. Going through a difficult time should not be seen as a negative thing, rather as a positive one, because when you believe in yourself and see the positive, you will see that one day you will prevail over the negativity and be stronger than you ever would have been if that difficult time never happened to you. That is seeing the positive of a negative situation. This is something that I have learned over the years as well. All the difficult times I have gone through my life, and continue to go through, all the trauma and abuse I have endured, all the things that a majority of people do not deal with in their entire lifetime, all of that is what makes me a strong person. If none of that happened, I would not be the same person I am today. I would not be able to do these videos and help those who are in the situation because I would not have had those experiences. I see all that negative things that happen to me as an indicator of strength. They are what makes me strive to do something great with my life and stand up and fight for those that are also going through difficult times. I could never do that if it wasn't for fighting through the difficult times. Let's be real here. Being positive all the time is equally as bad as being negative all the time. One needs to find balance. You can see the negativity and positivity, but focusing too much on either of these is very unhealthy. Here's why. As I said earlier, when you think negatively, bad things come into your life. You're not seeing the positive and fixating your attention on only the negative. When you are negative all the time, you will not be able to accomplish what you would like to because you do not see success in the horizon. When you think positively, good things come into your life. Very true. That is, unless you are fixating your attention on only the positive and turning a blind eye to the negative, not seeing the negative. Denial fits into this category. As with always being negative, you're not seeing the full picture. A positive situation in your mind could in fact be a negative one in disguise, but your thinking has been clouded by your emotions, what you think is positive and what could be. Another example when it comes to relationships, if you love someone, but they do not love you in turn, and because they were already with someone, and you continue to say that you two will be together someday, when there is absolutely no possibility of that happening, your love for that person is clouding your judgment, making you not think clearly and logically that it will not happen because you are in denial. You're only thinking about what you want, what would be the best, most desirable outcome for you. When the truth finally does hit you that you two will never be together, the disappointment and heartbreak that you feel will be quite disastrous because it was out of your acknowledgement since you were in denial. That is a perfect example of how focusing on the positive is unhealthy. Another thing to note is that you don't want to mask what you truly feel by being positive. In other words, you do not want to repress negative thoughts so positive ones are present. That is catastrophic. Learning the boundary between repression and true positivity is quite a challenge for some individuals. Denying any part of the personality, including the negative side of it, is extremely disastrous to one's health. Forcing anything to happen is not practical. It's about allowing and channeling negativity into something positive. Not necessarily changing your negative personality, but to use that negative personality for something positive. For example, instead of manipulating others, playing head games with them to get something you want, channel that negative personality trait into a positive one to help others. You will not necessarily be able to rid yourself of the personality trait that has been with you your whole life, but you can certainly learn to change the way you approach it to help others and be positive about it instead of negative. One needs to learn to let it be. Let the emotions go, and it will allow one to see clearly and logically. One's intuition is completely independent of emotions. This is the way of letting go of both positive and negative thoughts. Let it be. It may sound simple to just let it go so it doesn't bother you anymore, but it's easier said than done. You have to train yourself. Learn to let both the negative and positive go so you can see both the negative and positive of the situation, but are not fixated on either one of them. You are balanced and unbiased, letting your intuition guide you. All of this may sound impossible, but it's not. When you believe in yourself, you know you can do it. while being realistic and logical without obsessing over the negative aspects of your life. Learning to see the positive of the negative in addition to the negative of the positive. Siding with either one can be detrimental, but learning to see both objectively is what's beneficial, as well as letting your intuition guide you in the right path. So I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.